It is 4:59. Well, sir.
Sir, welcome, sir. Chairman, sir.
Evening, sir.
Welcome to the today's AP state level VCM on.
Thank you, sir.
Real estate.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Sir, your voice is.
Mr. Low, sir.
No, it's fine, sir. It's fine. It's fine.
Fine, sir. It's fine.
Okay.
It seems that you are at your chairman's office, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr. Sir.
Good evening, Narasimha.
Good evening, Sita, madam.
Good evening, Andy. Good evening, sir.
I request all the chairman to wish the SIRC chairman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sir, we are all from Andhra Pradesh, sir. Not Pradesh, sir.
Sir, good
I
evening.
am not for third party, sir.
Very close to heart. Very close to heart.
First of all, congratulations to Vijayawada team, sir, for organizing this AP level.
Thank you so much, sir.
Program, sir. So,
I hope this is the best idea for every month we can have one of this kind seminar so that all the branches will be benefited.
Yes.
Instead of hosting one by one.
Yes, with the support of our chairman, our ex-officio, and all the chairmen of the branches of Andhra Pradesh, definitely we will be in the forefront to organize the seminars. And also, I wish that each of the branches take
Yes,
initiative for one program.
Yeah, I meant it, sir. Actually, my intention was that one branch can take initiation in 1 month for each program.
Yeah, GSR, sir, the time is 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, and so in absentia, Central Council members, Dr. Dr. Rajkumar Satyanarayan Adukia, sir, a stalwart of the profession, is just not able to come to the today's meeting because of the small problem. And also, Prasanna Kumar sir informed us that he will be joining in the second half of this seminar because he is in the audit committee meeting right now. Even our Chinnamastan sir is also in the management committee meeting, but still he has found some time to attend here. Welcome, sir, Chinnamastan sir, for attending this today's meeting. My dear leaders from the all branches of Andhra Pradesh, chairman and management committee members, and more importantly, my dear professional colleagues, a hearty welcome to one and all. Indeed, it is a real honor to the Vijayawada branch to host a seminar of this nature. So actually, this VCM is a brainchild of our CCM Adukia sir, and who wants to interact all the leaders of Andhra Pradesh. Without wasting much of our time, I request to start the meeting with our motto song. Please place your right hand on your heart.
Yes, sir.
Sir, Chinnamastan sir, Ravikishore sir, I think there is small technical glitch.
Narendra, I think you have.
Play it, sir.
Unmute this. Narendra.
Yeah, Ravikishore sir. Sir, that motto song has not played completely, sir. Not from the beginning, sir.
Sir, voice is not here, sir. Narke, sir.
Supteshu jagrati yaesha supteshu jagrati kamam 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 pursho nirmimanah tadev shukram tad brahma tad तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्द्वैता 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 एतद्द्वैता.
Thank you, friends. Thank you very much. Now it's time to listen for the welcome address and message from our host branch chairman, Srimati Gadda Sita Shri.
Respected first person of SIRC of ICAI, our mentor, guide, ex-officio of our branch, CAT Chinnamastan, and dynamic and energetic leader, Central Council member and program director, CA Rajkumar Satyanarayan Adukia, and our beloved Central Council member, who is also the program director, CA D. Prasanna Kumar, and today's speaker, member of RERA, CA Chandu Sambasivarao, and chairman of 12 branches, and colleagues at MC, and past chairman of Vijayawada branch, and fellow members across the industry and practice. Very good evening to one and all. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all for the 3 days VCM jointly organized with other branches and real estate transactions. Our Vijayawada branch is very fortunate for getting this opportunity of being the lead branch for this 3 days series of VCM. With the meticulous planning of our program director, CA Rajkumar Satyanarayan Adukia, and program coordinator, Vice Chairman, CA Godavati Srinivasrao, we could host this AP state level series of VCM. Our initiate motto song goes by Yayeshu Sukteshu Jagrati, which has been the source for entire guiding source for the entire CA fraternity, and it is also the same for Vijayawada branch also. And I take this opportunity to share the past journey of Vijayawada branch, which today is one of the largest branches in the state of Andhra Pradesh. We have more than 1,300 members and 5,000 students on board as of today. And our Vijayawada branch has seen many outstanding and noteworthy events under the able leadership of our esteemed past chairman of Vijayawada branch. We have bagged quite a few awards in the past years, an All India Best Branch Award in large category in the year 2020, and an All India Second Best Branch Award in the year 2021. And we got Best Sikasa Branch Awards at SIRC level for the last 2 years. This conference is on the subject real estate transactions, whose processes are of very complex nature and even difficult even for professionals to understand. And our today's topic is RERA. RERA is regulatory authority in each state for regulation of the real estate sector and also to act as adjudicating authority for speedy dispute resolution. We planned this program jointly with other branches so that our whole CS in AP will get benefited out of this conference. Friends, as today's society is going to trying times with chartered accountants, so with a lot of issues. So chartered accountants' positivity and motivation, we should lift the society and become partners in national building. I'm sure with our leaders, SIRC Chairman, CAT Chinnamastan, and Central Council members, CA Rajkumar Satyanarayan Adukia, and CA D. Prasanna Kumar, for the persons with clear vision and ideas, we can achieve this goal. And on this momentous occasion, let us celebrate the knowledge of wisdom. Happy learning. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for this nice words. Now I request CA Vangala Bhargavi, ma'am, to introduce our chief guest of the day, Chinnamastan, sir. Unmute yourself, ma'am.
Unmute yourself.
Not audible, madam. Your voice is not audible. Please check at your
She
end.
has some issue with her voice itself, I think. Madam, log out and log in again. The issue may be resolved. Ramesh, check if she is a co-host or not.
Yes, she is a co-host, ma'am.
Right, sir. I will say a few words about Chinnamastan, sir. Please give me the permission to do so. C.A. Chinnamasan T was born in 1977, and by academic qualification, he holds a master's degree in commerce, and by professional qualification, a fellow member of ICAI. He became an associate member of ICAI in 2006 and a fellow member in the year 2011. His other post-qualification courses include certificate course on forensic accounting and fraud detection, certificate course on anti-money laundering, certificate course on arbitration, mediation, and conciliation. He took advantage of pandemic and SIR has completed all these courses, I suppose. That was a boon. Actually, that has been utilized. The time has been utilized. Besides, he is also an insolvency professional conferred by the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. He was elected as chairman of SIRC for the year 22-23 at the 249th meeting of SIRC held on 17 February 2022 at Chennai. Prior to assuming the highest and coveted position in SIRC, he was the vice chairman of SIRC for the year 21-22. He was elected to the regional council for the term 16-19 and got re-elected for the next two consecutive terms, 19-22 and 22-25. During his term 16-19, he was secretary of SIRC for the year 2018-19 and has served as chairman of Professional Development Committee, Committee for Capacity Building of CF firms, SMPs, and members of other committees during the years 17-18 and 18-19. Before he was elected to the SIRC, he was also associated with the Hyderabad branch in various capacities. With these few words, I will hand over to Chinnamasan sir for his address on this first day of the series of DCMs on real estate transactions. Over to you, Chinnamasan garu. Please unmute.
Yes, sir. It's my turn.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you all. Chairman of CPV Committee of ICAI, Rajkumar Redkya in his absence here, and our beloved Central Council member from Andhra Pradesh, Prasanna Kumar sir, who will join very shortly from Chennai. He is going on audit committee meeting at Indian Bank. From coordinators, G. Srinivasarao, past chairman of Vijayawada branch, and other newly elected member and coordinator of this program, Kauta Venkat Subbarao, and the office bearers and managing members of Vijayawada branch, and the resource persons, Sindhu Samsivarao, and AP RERA authority, and the other speaker, C. Abhishek Kohli, C. Sandhu Ramakrishna, chairmen and office bearers of various branches of my state, Andhra Pradesh. Very good evening to all. I'm very happy and pleased to be a part of this 3 days virtual CP on real estate transaction being initiated by Vijayawada branch of SIRC of ICAI and associated with the 11th branch of Andhra Pradesh. I have been participating these programs across our regions, and most of the participants are having the confusion that whether we should go for the physical as well as the virtual or both. So I request all the branch chairmen, let us continue the programs at virtual level only. These are the so many branches where we are initiated that physical programs. It's not much turn about this physical participation. So let us continue with the physical, the virtual programs only. And the joint programs, I always recall our esteemed Central Council members, say Prasanna Kumar, if I am not wrong. He is the first person to start the concept of this joint program between the branches and the regions the way back in the 1999. And even the last week, Pondicherry and the Chengalpattu district branch of SIRC joined together and host the regional residential course at Tekadi, Kerala. The next couple of days, Salem branch and Erode branch are jointly hosting the regional residential course at ERCAD. I feel it's welcome to all for joining these RRC programs. And also the other states like Karnataka and Kerala also is going to be conducting that RRC programs. I request Andhra Pradesh, either Vijayawada, Guntur or the Vizag branch conduct that one RRC program. Across the south, members are interested to joining these RRC programs. I'm seeing that all the RRC programs is going very successfully, participating the large from the different cities of the south. I got that information also. That's this month, on 26th and 27th, there is a RRC program at Munnar hosted by the Coimbatore branch. So many people from the Hyderabad has registered for this program. So considering this importance, let's arrange the one program by end of the July, so that we'll get that the best branch award criteria. Also will get the value addition marks. And members, coming to this today's the programs, the organizers deserve our the appreciation, and they arranged the 3 different segments in the subjects, named the RERA, Facet in general, and relation to Income Tax Act, and relation to the GST also. So in fact, I can tell you at the SIRC level, we are using that knowledge of AP branches, especially from the Vijayawada, because the thought process and giving the inputs for conducting the different programs and different useful topics, which is coming from the Vijayawada branch first office bearers, I can say, are the members. I'm really happy to be part of that Vijayawada as an executive member. And coming to that updates at the SIRC, in the last 2 days, we conduct at the direction of the head office, the south level, the students quiz competition. It's a quiz competition exclusive for the students. It's related to other than the subjects. So more than 70 people participated from across the south. 4 persons are elected for the national competitions. The 4 are women students. That is the power of the women students now. So if you see that the statistics of the institute for registration of CA also, it's more than 30 to 40% is women only. So, and if you see the result of the either from the CPT as well as the final, more than men, the women are passing. So that's really that women empowerment committee at the SIRC as well as the IC level, it's giving the good results established for these committees. And members, coming to this RERA, so all are aware that the RERA 2016 is considered as one of the landmark legislations passed by the government of India. Its objective to reform the real estate sector in India and encouraging the greater transparency in the transactions and accountability and financial disciplines. This is the line with the vast and growing economy of India. In the future, many people will invest in the real estate sector. It has been more than 60 years since Act was passed by the government of India. Almost all the state governments started rules for the effective implementation, and this code has considered a one-stop solution for redressal of the grievances against by the builders. As we are from the Andhra Pradesh, most of them are from the Andhra Pradesh branches. I can tell you that with this notification, with this opportunity, one of member from our fraternity, C.A. Rajshekhar Reddy, become newly elected as a RERA member for the Andhra Pradesh in the Vijayawada. I congratulate him, and we can meet whenever you required at Vijayawada if you travel to Vijayawada. And the other speaker, C.A. Abhishek Murli, one of the eminent resource person and my erstwhile colleague in the regional council, will be delivering at the length of taxation angle in the real estate sector with the special reference to the capital gains. And our 11th speaker, Sangu Ramakrishna, would be highlighting the issues connected with RERA versus the GST to guide as how to approach the impact of GST in turn and guide to our clients. And my office bearers and leaders and the members from Andhra Pradesh, as I'm the SRC chairman, myself and the council, we decided to conduct the one more new activity program which will be help to the branches, it help to the CA firms on the recruitment of paid assistants. As SIRC, we are sending the letters to the branches as well as the colleges to identify the colleges which are available locally to catch that the commerce graduate at the final year level, to recruit them as a paid assistant to the CA students. We are on the job. Maybe it will be materialized by the end of the June or mid of the July. So my feeling is something it will help instead of the article students non-availability. And I request all the branch chairmen, if you see that SIRC newsletters, every month, I'm getting that articles from the AP part, especially from Nellore, Guntur, and Vizag. So I request the resource persons and the office bearers, especially chairman of the branches, let a design, design the formats or the references. Say you take the RERA or you take the 15 CACB. There are a lot of experts in our state. Let design and make the reference which are the checklist, like a audit checklist. To prepare that at the branch level, and if all the branches will prepare, we will be consolidate and we will release the one reference book by physically or as well as that soft copy. It will be definitely helpful, and at the same time, we have made that good reference will be give that prize money. We recognize that branch. This is the resources branch for the particular area, and the resource person also will get the good credibility and will give that service to the members of the maybe in the southern part, maybe in the different districts of Andhra Pradesh. And coming lastly, as I discussed with the chairman of Tirupati branch, we want to conduct that sub-regional conference at Tirupati this year on behalf of the AP branch. So that Tirupati branch is going to be make the this RR sub-regional conference on 27th and 28th at Tirupati on Monday and Tuesday, to give that to the darshan with the Venkateswara Swami or Lord Balaji. So he is doing that arrangements. Let join with all the hands from the different parts of the branches and the members be success that sub-regional conference. With this, I once again appreciate the efforts of the Vijayawada branch and chairpersons, all the chairmen's office bearers of the Andhra Pradesh. I take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks on behalf of the SIRC and my own behalf to the members have been supporting the activities of SIRC and its branches at all time. I extend my warm greetings and good wishes all round success of this 3 days program with all the state level branches, and my sincere, I can say that request, whatever you want help from the SIRC, let me share. Definitely, we are ready to help at any level. At this, because most of the branches are asking that solar system where the branches having own building for the role model or the benchmark model. We gave the approval to the Vijayawada branch for solar system and the Salem branch. Once these branches success, definitely it will come to all the branches who are making the request. With this, I conclude my speech. Thank you all for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chinnamastan Garu, for your kind message. And also, we take the whatever the inputs that were given by the from SIRC side, either from the formats and checklists that what you are going to prepare a book, consolidated book virtually and also physically. Each and every branch will definitely contribute the things to the SIRC. And also, thank you very much for gracing the occasion and giving your valuable message. I welcome today's resource person, Mithali Sampath, Vinod Sampath sir, within a short span of time, just 2 hours before Adukia sir requested the Sampath sir to give the today's lecture because he is not feeling well as of now. That's why Adukia sir requested the Sampath sir to deliver the message. So without wasting much of the time, I request our branch secretary Anita Ravikishore sir to kindly present Vinod Sampath sir to the all members.
Yeah. Thank you, GSR Garu, for giving me the opportunity. Advocate Mr. Mithil Vinod Sampath is enrolled with Bar Council of India, Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa, Bombay High Court original side, Bombay High Court. He, from 2013 till date, he is intern and a subsequent associate at Vinod C. Sampath's chambers with a job profile of legal research and drafting in litigation and non-litigation documents, filing of and appearing and arguing in civil jurisdiction matters in the following: in the constitutional courts of Bombay High Court and Supreme Court, trial courts of city civil courts, small causes court, cooperative appellate court, and magistrates court. In the consumer fora of District Commission, Maharashtra State Commission, National Commission. In Real Estate Regulatory Authority, he is chairperson and members before the chairperson and members of Maharashtra Real Estate Regulatory Authority, Adjudicating Authority, Real Estate Appellate Tribunal. Registrar of cooperative societies, he argued before deputy or assistant district deputy or divisional or joint registrars. And also he argued cases before divisional commissioner, Konkan division under the Maharashtra Land Revenue Court and public information officers under the Right to Information Act of 2005. He completed his LLB from 2010 to 14 from Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Law, Nerul, Navi Mumbai, affiliated with Mumbai University. As a professional, he has co-authored RERA Practice Manual, published by the Western India Regional Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, along with the Taxman publications. He has delivered various online lectures, webinars upon the Consumer Protection Act 2019, real estate laws, cooperative society law, and the basics of law for students during the COVID-19 pandemic onwards in August 2020, September 20, January 21, March 21, so on and so forth. He is a regular faculty for courses and lectures hosted by Program for Legal Education and Awareness, and also a regular faculty for certification courses offered by Loctopus. Sir, it's over to you, Sampath sir, to take it forward.
Sampath sir, before you take it forward, a small announcement, sir. I request all the members to kindly mark your attendance by placing your name and membership number on the chat box. Those who are done the same, they will get the CPE credit. Thank you. And those who already placed their name and membership number need not place once again. Just it is one-time affair. Thank you. And every day they have to do the same. Thank you, and over to Sampath sir.
And ask them to mention the branch name also, so that it will be easy for verification.
Sure. Thank you.
With your permission, can I share screen?
Please, sir.
My pleasure. Is the full screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will begin. So my sincere thanks to the organizers of the event at the SIRC of the ICAI. Let us open with the philosophy that in positivity lies success. There is a book by an author called Ryan Holiday. The name of the book is The Obstacle is the Way. The essence of that book is that whatever challenges you makes you better. And therefore, one must inculcate the mentality that where there is any adversity or complexity, it is an opportunity. It is a process of mental practice. Even the Bhagavad Gita has a quote for the same, that for those who have conquered the mind is a friend, and vice versa. Even in law, we must adopt the perspective where we have a vision that what will happen when multiple laws apply to the same single action. When RERA came, there was a lot of overlap with the existing laws. And my dear friends, as you may be aware, real estate laws are not just one or two laws. It is a whole gamut of laws. It is a whole umbrella of laws, which we shall see in the later slides. So it is important to have this kind of a perspective where we do not ignore the implications of other laws which may apply. And similar were the words preached by the learned Swami Vivekananda. In lighter vein, I may say that if CA Rajkumar Adukia sir's expertise and qualifications are to be narrated, we will need whole another slot in the program. So Rajkumar sir, in his expertise and experience, has made a list of opportunities of sectors of work for people like us, with a particular focus and emphasis on real estate and property. There are some 41 categories of work and opportunity which Rajkumar sir has listed. Let us quickly observe them one by one. So first you can look into conversion of agricultural land into non-agricultural land, or as we call NA land. You can take up work to remove the restrictions of agricultural land. Then development and construction is not just limited to housing. One can take up consultancy and other work for development of retail industry, hospitality industry, entertainment industry, call centers, and many other fields. Just to quickly say, in the 2000s, within one decade, technology like computers, mobile phones, internet, etc., they increased at an exponential rate. And presently, another example is the rise of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency. So these are examples of how there can be an almost overnight creation of new sectors and opportunity in the world. In fact, just to give another example, in today's age of cloud computing and storage, there are township-sized servers of computers which are spanned across a large site, a large area in each site. Then one can take up advisory practice for investors. There are Indian or foreign citizens, Indian or foreign nationals who want to invest in India. Sometimes they want to buy land here to retire, or sometimes if not retirement, they want to set up their business, etc. So that is an opportunity. Then what will be the tax implications, stamp duty implications? What should be financial planning of such persons? Then real estate sectors has some stakeholders, or we can also call them as key players. These are the promoters, that is the builder, the real estate agent, the allottee, that is the purchaser, and also other intermediaries like engineer, architect, and other liaisons. Consultancy can include for common problems like possession, payment, etc., and a whole range of other problems which we shall see in the coming slides. Then other opportunities include due diligence before purchasing a flat or land, Then there is opportunity for drafting and documentation. There is a purchase and sale agreement, conveyance deed, mortgage papers, loan papers, title deed, development agreement for redevelopment, transfer of membership in society, lease agreement, leave and license agreement, landlord-tenant issues, franchising agreement, etc. Then RERA Act allows various professionals to appear on behalf of the litigants. And believe me, friends, there is a lot of work opportunity under RERA. There is filing of the RERA complaint before the authority or the adjudicating officer or the tribunal. There is mediation and conciliation. There is execution of the order, including at the land revenue authorities. Then there are other ancillary things in RERA. If not just litigation, there are other things like registration of the project for the promoter, making quarterly update for the promoter, extending the project registration. All these are services which you can offer to the public at large. Under consultancy, if one has a sound knowledge of consumer laws, then a chartered accountant can also advise a litigant on the technicalities of consumer law plus RERA. So just to deviate a small bit, under the old 1986 Consumer Act, there was a restriction that professionals except advocates, other professionals cannot use an NGO format to litigate and learn livelihood in consumer. This restriction, I'm sorry, this restriction does not seem to appear in the new 2019 Act. So it is a slight gray area whether CAs can form an NGO and practice. But the point here is that nonetheless, RERA and consumer provisions go hand in hand. When RERA was in its infancy, when RERA was ekdam new, many of the consumer law principles which were established, they were used, the consumer law principles were used to aid in the interpretation of RERA Act to give protection to the allottees, how similarly it would have given under the Consumer Act. So therefore, working knowledge of other laws like consumer laws can help your arguments in RERA. Then professionals can look into management of property. For many foreign people, they purchase the property in India, but they want it to be maintained physically as well as legally, paying the maintenance on time, paying property tax, coordinating with society for updates, etc. Professional can also look in the scope of valuation of a property. And there is also financial planning for the promoter and other entities. On a larger scale, if government or builder is planning to build a township, a large area of property, then that is an opportunity. All the taxation for the allottee as well as the developer is an opportunity. Engaging in change of user services from residential to commercial to industrial, etc. That is a service. And lastly, allow me to add, Andhra Pradesh has a huge coastline, the second largest coastline in India, if I'm not wrong, with 1,000 kilometers. So coastline activities are also in the scope, like ports, environment laws, CRZ, etc. So this is a slide which is reiterating of documentation for opportunities as a CA. Quickly, let us look at some statistics of Andhra Pradesh. The population as per the 2011 census is almost 50 million, that is approx 5 crores, which means, excuse me, which means there are a lot of people who can give you work. Andhra Pradesh is the 8th largest state in the country with a geographical area of 1.6 lakh square kilometers, which means that the state, along with its coastline, is a prime hub for construction and other economic and residential activities. Real estate sector is really a vast umbrella as well as a vast market capture. Real estate sector is a global sector. So one can take the example of Amazon versus Reliance for retail. Reliance currently has 15,000 stores which cover 416 million square feet. So the booming opportunity in real estate in this example will be for Kirana stores, electronic stores, chemist stores, etc. In 2020, the market size of the real estate sector was estimated to be around 5,400 crores, which, if I'm not wrong, is approximately $700 million US. And there is a prediction that in the particular industry for data centers itself, the real estate demand is expected to increase by 15 to 18 million square feet by the year 2025. There is a similar statistic in this slide. I'm sorry, just excuse me for please just 1 minute. I'm sorry. There is a similar statistic in this slide. There is a 52% year-over-year growth in the first half of 2021 with 2.4 billion into real estate assets. And construction is the largest, construction industry is the largest in terms of FDI inflow, which was $52 billion between April and December of 2000 and 2021. Now, broadly speaking, the following are the types of real estates. There can sometimes, so these types can sometimes be the whole land or the whole plot or just any particular apartment or any particular structure on the land. So there is residential, which means to reside in or to occupy. Commercial, which means business activities. Agricultural land, which means growing of crops by a farmer. Industrial, which means production. And any other special purpose which may be notified by the government for any particular activity, like special economic zones, central business districts, coastal zone regulations, mangroves, salt pans, military land, police housing, or any, so those are examples of special purposes. Like we discussed, the key stakeholders in the real estate sector are the landowner who owns the land, the builder who wants to do development on the land, the real estate agent who connects the customers with the developers, the purchasers who want to purchase an apartment or a plot or a bungalow, and the tenant and the landlord if they are there. So you can offer your services to any of these. And there are various other industries who are dependent on the real estate sector, like the industries and sectors for cement, steel, bricks, wood, and other building materials. Rajkumar sir has been very kind enough to make a list of the various important government authorities in Andhra Pradesh with respect to real estate and their corresponding websites. So I think with permission of the organizers and with Rajkumar sir, we may circulate this PPT, or members, participants may take a screenshot.
Sir, if you can share the PPT, we will be sharing it, sir.
I have no problem. I will take sir's permission, Rajkumar sir's permission, and then I'll forward it to you.
Thank you, sir.
And this slide also has various other websites for other government departments pertaining to real estate. There is a brief history of property in the Constitution of India. Earlier, right to property was a fundamental right, just like freedom of speech. But later, it was stripped of this fundamental right status, and the right to property subsequently became a constitutional right under Article 300A. All laws, real estate laws or otherwise, all laws can be traced back to the Constitution, and more particularly to the 7th schedule of the Constitution, which has a central list, state list, and concurrent list. In the context of real estate, in this slide, Rajkumar sir has listed all the relevant entries pertaining to real estate as they appear in the state list, which means that state legislature has the sole right to make laws upon these topics. Similarly, there are topics of real estate which are in the concurrent list, meaning state and center both can make laws on these topics. Now, earlier I said that RERA is just one of the several laws. And I said that many laws simultaneously apply to even a single real estate transaction. So let us scrutinize that in addition to RERA, which additional laws apply. And my friends, you may keep in mind that it is very much valid to invoke these additional laws in your RERA hearings or in your consultations. There is Contract Act, as you may be aware. So there has to be valid contract and there should not be void or voidable contract. Breach of contract consequences flow thereon. And Contract Act is also important for other topics like indemnity, guarantee, bailment, and lien. Then another important act is Transfer of Property Act, or TOPA, as we call it in the legal fraternity. Transfer of Property Act is contracts for property, both movable as well as immovable. Then there is the Registration Act. Transactions of immovable property are compulsorily required to be registered with the sub-registrar. then the Indian Stamp Act will apply to each registration when you go to do. I'm sure you must be aware that stamp duty is like a fee or a tax which you pay to the government. Then there is Easement Act. Easement Act means I can enjoy some rights on other people's property. For example, if I have a bungalow, if my bungalow's main door does not touch the road, but if my bungalow's main door touches your house, it is directly touching your house, it is directly facing your house, and if I do not have any direct road access, that means I have an easement through your property in order that I may enjoy my property. This is one of the examples of easement called right to way, right to have access to a way. And there are many more easements. Then another law which can apply is the old and the new Land Acquisition Act. If the government wants to acquire your land for any public purpose, what is the procedure to acquire? What is the procedure to vacate? What is the compensation that will be given? Then there is Indian Evidence Act. My friends, you may think that Evidence Act only applies for full-fledged courts, only lawyers have to use it. You may think that Evidence Act has no application in tribunals, especially in tribunals with natural justice, but there are many provisions in the Evidence Act which you can take advantage of with persuasive value. For example, section 114 of the Evidence Act says that court can presume certain facts. Court can presume the existence of any fact with regard to the common course or human conduct or business, as we call it in the ordinary course of business. So any fact can be assumed. One illustration is also given in the section that in this section, court may presume that common course of business has been followed in particular cases. So one can use this provision to argue what is the ordinary course of business. Provisions like these can prevent manipulation of the law. Then there is Specific Relief Act. It is almost well settled now that RERA courts, they do have the power to offer the reliefs which are provided under the Specific Relief Act. I have performed my part of the contract. Now you perform yours. You can use Specific Relief Act for possession or recovery of immovable property. So there is a whole gamut and umbrella of parallel and simultaneous laws. But all these on screen are only the central laws. Rajkumar sir has also listed out many of the state-specific Andhra Pradesh laws which are relevant, like the Tenancy Act, Andhra Pradesh RERA rules, Metropolitan Act, the State's Ownership Flat Act, Town Planning Act, etc. It is important to understand that in a single transaction, all or many or most of these laws will apply simultaneously and parallelly. Highlighting the importance of Contract Act, Rajkumar sir has stated that when a proposal is made lawfully, proposal is accepted lawfully, communication of the acceptance is made lawfully, and the proposal and acceptance is not revoked, then the proposal becomes a promise, which in turn becomes an agreement. And if the agreement is not void, and if it is not voidable, then the agreement is a contract. So sir has highlighted that who can be a party to the agreement: a major person above 18 years of sound mind, partnership firm and all the partners, corporate body, trust, corporation, HUF manager, and even foreigner can be parties to the contract. And like I said, under Contract Act, other important concepts are indemnity, lien, guarantee, and bailment. RERA courts as well as consumer courts, both, they have relied upon the principles of breach of contract and damages to award damages to the aggrieved party. Whenever there is adjudication, the principles of Contract Act, breach of contract have been used by RERA courts also and by consumer courts also. So when there is a breach, the party may rescind it with modifications or rescind it and refuse the performance altogether, or any party may sue for damages, or any party may sue for specific performance or for any particular injunction. Then coming to Transfer of Property Act. My friends, Transfer of Property Act, when we couple Transfer of Property Act and RERA, Transfer of Property Act becomes very, very important. Although we may think that scope of Transfer of Property Act, scope of TOPA is very limited, very small, it is only for sale, mortgage, and it is only under limited scenario, it is important to know that you can use certain sections in transfer of property to really strengthen and bolster your RERA provisions. For example, Section 5 of TOPA, what is a transfer? That definition is given, and also it is said that living person includes companies, association, etc. So if some erring promoter or if some litigant is taking a defense that that person is not included in transfer of property because he is not a living person, it is important to have a working knowledge of these definitions where it says that corporations and artificial entities are included in legal person. Then from the definition clause of instrument, the definition of instrument, it means that it is a non-testamentary instrument because Transfer of Property Act is the opposite of succession laws. From Section 6, we can also see what can be transferred, but more importantly, from Section 6, we can also see that what cannot be transferred. Another important section in Transfer of Property Act is this Section 7, persons competent to make the transfer. So who is a person competent to make the transfer? That is clear, but also importantly under Section 7, who is competent to receive the transfer? For example, a cooperative housing society is entitled under Section 7 of Transfer of Property to be entitled to be on the receiving end of the conveyance, of the statutory conveyance, which is a transfer of property. Other important sections of transfer of property are Section 8. Section 8 says that when there is a transfer, it is a transfer of the full interest. So if builder says that I will not give you conveyance right now because the neighboring society construction is still pending, depending on the facts of the case, you can invoke Section 8 saying that I am supposed to get a transfer of full interest and not transfer of any half interest. Another important provision under Transfer of Property Act is Section 11. Section 11 says that restrictions which are repugnant to the full interest, they are void, they shall not apply. So if any restricted transfer is being made under some facts of the case, then that restriction is void. Then another important section is Section 19, the definition of vested interest, that when something vests, it vests from a particular date. Then there are formalities for transfer like attestation of witness, registration, giving notice, etc. In Contract Act, we have contingent contract, but in transfer of property, we have a wider scope for things like vested interest, contingent interest, and conditional transfer. In transfer of property, we also have the protection of Section 53A, which is part performance. The objective, the main purpose of this 53A is to prevent the transferor, who is usually the builder, the seller of the flat, to prevent the transferor from taking advantage when the transferee has already performed his part of the contract. So 53A protects the transferee who has performed his part of the contract. Then the definition of sale is important. We are just going through in detail why Transfer of Property Act is important. Transfer of Property Act also gives a list which is rights of buyer, rights of seller, and duty of buyer and duty of seller. So these are in effect rights and duties of the buyer and the seller. I'm sorry. Where the rights of the purchaser and the seller, they are spelled out. So these provisions you can use to your advantage to give additional meaning and protection to the transaction. Transfer of Property Act also talks about mortgage, and it is important since most projects are mortgaged with the finance entity. So Transfer of Property Act can also, studying the mortgage provisions will put you in a better position to understand the mortgage scenario also. Rajkumar sir has also been very kind enough to enlighten us with the registration rates in Andhra Pradesh. And the following is the chart on the screen which sir has prepared. And not just the rates and charges, sir has also been very kind enough to give a checklist of documents which are required for registration of properties in Andhra Pradesh. Similarly, Rajkumar sir has given us a chart of the stamp duty rates and the formula for its calculation. Sir has also given us an introduction to the Easement Act. Then there is the Land Acquisition Act, the land acquisition rules, the purposes for which land acquisition may be made by the state government, the procedures and formalities, other procedures and formalities, and coming to the Real Estate Act. Sir has given us timelines under the RERA Act, that for the left side of the column, what is the time taken, which is the right side of the column. This is another timeline prepared by Rajkumar sir for RERA topic. Sir has also been very kind enough to give us a step-by-step process for the registration of a project. If a promoter wants to register a project with the RERA, how to go about it step by step, that is on this slide. The continuation. And then how to register as a promoter, that also step by step sir has given. Continuation of registration as a promoter, how to register as an agent. Sir has given some statistics pertaining to the complaints. Here also sir has shown us how to look up the relevant land records online. Very lucid and very step-by-step procedure sir has prepared and given us. Specific Relief Act is also analyzed by sir, and specifically recovery under Specific Relief Act has been analyzed by sir. If the land or the building may come under the special economic zone, then that provisions sir has extrapolated here. This is another website by which we can check the land records online. Sir has also given, which much to my surprise also, that what are the SEBI regulations with respect to the real estate investment trust. And similarly, SEBI regulations with respect to infrastructure investment trust. So as you can see, Rajkumar sir has done a very in-depth analysis to show the participants that at one time, how many laws may apply and how they may apply. Now coming to what are the different types of disputes that one may see in the RERA code, or in general, what are the types of property disputes that may arise. Let us see that one by one. Number one, builder does not have title to the property. It is possible that builder has a defective title. He does not have title to the full thing. His title was conditional or his title was time bound and it has expired. In all these cases, the title of the builder is defective. Another type of dispute, and which is the most common, is disputes relating to the possession. Builders are not giving possession on time. There is delayed possession, and those types of matters you can litigate under RERA. Then, especially during redevelopment agreements, the builder is supposed to comply with the terms of the development agreement. If the development agreement has a scope where it says that builder will pay some transit rent or provide some temporary accommodation, then those types of disputes may arise. You may look into the state laws whether the redevelopment dispute may go under RERA or whether it may go under any other codes like civil codes or cooperative codes. Then, if the real estate agent has duped the builder, has duped the customer, the allottee, if the real estate agent has made some false suggestions about the project, some false amenities, some false aspects, then the allottee can litigate against the agent also. And if the agent and the promoter are hand in glove in the wrongdoing, then both can be prosecuted in RERA. Another big dispute that is usually faced by the purchasers, when someone goes to buy a flat, they will be attracted by a lot of other amenities which will be displayed by the builder. For example, this has special connectivity to say some highway or to some metro station, railway station. Some connectivity is there or to some main road, or it is in the center of a hub, say this mall, that mall. To some extent, everything we can be sure of. But there are other amenities which he says he will give. For example, I will give you a clubhouse, gym, swimming pool. There is one matter which I am handling for some of the residents in a building. It is a very high profile building, very ultra luxurious, and something called observatory for astronomy. That is one of the amenities which is supposed to be given by the builders for people who are enthusiasts about space and stars. There is a whole observatory that was promised, that is not given. There is jogging tracks, there is a spa, restaurant, this facility, that facility. All these are amenities which are promised by the builder, which are eventually either not given entirely or they are given in a cheaper way. So if one of the advertisements can be that you will have 10,000 square feet open space for your premises. So for the whole building or the whole society to enjoy, there will be 10,000 square foot free space. But actually, when people took possession, when they measured the free space, it was not found to be 10,000. So builder either doesn't give some amenities at all, or he will reduce the quality, reduce the size of the amenities which he actually does deliver. Other types of disputes which can go under RERA are area disputes. Builder says that I am giving you 1,000 square foot flat for 1,000 rupees total, just for example. But one big practice that at least in Maharashtra that used to go on and sometimes still does go on was that builder will not stick to carpet area. He will introduce or he will invent some imaginary terms: built up area, super built up area, saleable area, ultra built up area. Now what happens in this area dispute? You think you are getting 1,000 square foot for 1,000 rupees. But actually that 1,000 square foot is not 1,000 carpet. Builder has stuck some other area in the calculation which you are not entitled to. So for example, many times the balcony is not actually a balcony. It is the extension of the slab when he is constructing, and that he will convert into a balcony and give it to you. That is not passed as you cannot occupy that as per the building plan. That is not passed for occupying in the building plans. Another example of this extra area is if there is a common pipe from top to bottom for the whole building on that side of the flat, one common pipe is there. In earlier days, that pipe used to be facing outside, but as the buildings got bigger, the pipe started being more towards the flat. And what builder does, that is not your area. That is a common area from top to bottom. That is counted as a common area of the society. But in construction, builder will make a room and he will exaggerate and he will insist to you, "Arey, this is extra space. You make it a walk-in wardrobe. You break this wall and you convert it into a walk-in wardrobe, or you extend your bathroom, or you extend your room." But you will fall into trouble if you do that, because that is not as per the carpet area. Literally, it was to this quantum and to this size that flats which were marketed as 1,000 square foot were actually only 400 carpet area. You thought you are getting 1,000 square foot flat for 1,000 rupees. No, you are getting much less area. You are paying much more for the area. You are paying 1,000 rupees for 400 square foot carpet. And if any wrongdoing is done on that, if you have broken any wall as the occupier, the corporation sends the notice to the occupier. Usually, that is tentatively what I have seen from state to state. You may look into the Andhra Pradesh specific or municipality or district specific. But if the law is that the occupier will be penalized, then you cannot take the defense that builder has given me like this or builder has told me like this. You will have to pay the penalty. You will have to file a separate case to recover that money from the builder because he has done the wrongdoing. So that is the dispute about carpet area. You get lesser than what you are entitled to, or in other words, builder inflates the carpet area and gives you. Then other types of disputes that may happen is that there is an undisclosed encumbrance and loan. When the project is started, builder discloses that this is the loan agency. But I am having some inquiries right now that these people have paid for the flat and the builder has further mortgaged that flat, their flat, without telling them. So creating an encumbrance, an undisclosed encumbrance on the property is not allowed, and you can litigate on that. then what RERA protects you against is one-sided agreements. What is the best example of one-sided agreement? I will tell you. You pick up any flat agreement, your own flat agreement or your client agreement. 99% of the times, it will be like this, that penalty on the purchaser is very high, but penalty on the builder is very low. For example, the purchaser's duty is to make payment on time. There will be a clause that if purchaser does not make the payment on time, the builder will levy a penalty of 21% compound interest, that also compounded quarterly. So very easily it can become a high penalty. But on the same, in the same agreement, if builder does any offense, then builder will have very small penalty, 100 rupees penalty per day or 1 rupee per square foot per day. These penalties are very meager when you compare the size of the penalty of the purchaser, which is very high, and the size of the penalty of the builder, which is very low. You can take this one-sided agreement to the courts and you can get it altered, or you can get some kind of relief. There are observations of the court where courts have made an observation that it is general practice that the agreements, builder-buyer agreements, are totally one-sided. Such are observations in strong terms of the courts, and courts have held that to make it equal, the penalties should be the same. So depending on the facts of the case, you can challenge the unfair provisions. Then another offense which the builder does, according to RERA, according to RERA and the State Societies Act, the builder is supposed to form a cooperative society or the relevant legal entity on time. When builder does not form society, he gets one or two advantages from that. He can keep on collecting maintenance from you, because if society is not formed, handover is not done, and all the maintenance and other charges are still in the hands of the builder. Once society is formed, the committee looks after all these aspects. So sometimes builders have vested interests in not forming the society. Similar to manipulation of these amounts by non-forming society, one big advantage which the builder gets when he does not register society, or when he registers but he does not give conveyance, is that the builder, he does not give conveyance. When the builder does not give conveyance, the occupiers of that flat are in a very dangerous situation. Just to give you an example, what is the importance of statutory conveyance? You may be living in a building right now. You may be living on the 10th floor or whichever floor, ground floor, first floor, 10th floor. You are entitled only to the house, but technically speaking, you are not the owner of the house. The society is the owner of the house, and you are a member of society, and so you have a permission to stay in the house and to own the house. You own the house, you have your agreement in your name, but technically, according to the law, the land should be in the name of society, and society is the owner of the land and the structure. But if builder is not giving you conveyance, statutory conveyance, that means land is itself not in the name of the society and your flat is not in your name. Now, if there is some catastrophe, lightning strikes the building, building breaks, there was Bhuj earthquake in Gujarat, buildings had broken. If your building breaks in some earthquake or some calamity or some tsunami or whatever, if you don't have statutory conveyance, you cannot start rebuilding your house. You will have to go to the court to fight for your title while you are homeless. So when builder does not form society, or when builder does not give you conveyance, it is a serious deprivation of the rights of the occupiers and the allottees. Then, like we said, the builder will, there will not be any transparency in the amounts collected by the builder. That is one kind of issue. Builder is going on issuing bills without any justification. This cost is incurred, that cost is incurred. Or if you have incurred in painting or whatever, you give me the bills. If you have incurred in repairs, you give me the bills. If you are, builders will just charge anything under any head. You ask for justification and for bills and proof. You are all CA, so obviously it must be the first thing for your good selves to ask for audited accounts, etc. But for the lay person, it does not strike them very easily that I want, if you have charged me under some heading, I want substantiation thereof. So transparency in accounts is one of the disputes. And last but not the least, defective construction. There is a video in Mumbai, one of our friends, journalist friends in our circle, literally he punched a hole, he punched in the wall, and there is a hole in the wall. If a building's wall and this was outside the door of the flat, outside the main door of the flat. He has punched, and that thing has given way as if it was some kind of cardboard. There is a hole where he had punched, and this gentleman is a 60-year-old gentleman. He is not some 25-year-old bodybuilder who has put strength. It is a retired journalist, very senior, and if that is the kind of construction, then the builder is putting your lives at risk, which is defective construction. This is one of the more dangerous scenarios, but other kind of defective construction can be that your leakage is happening, there are cracks in your walls, and basically any kind of construction which the builder has done, it is supposed to have a minimum period in which it is not required to require repairs. I think it is 3 years or 5 years under RERA. It is called the defect liability period, that if within this period there is any defect in construction, builder has to pay for the repairs. Occupiers and allottees and society do not have to incur. So briefly, these were the offenses in the real estate sector, many of which go to the RERA codes. Now quickly we are heading towards the end. Last few slides are there. This we are going to see 2-3 judgments, landmark judgments. When RERA came out, a bunch of litigation went to the High Court and Supreme Court to determine what is the harmony and coexistence between the various laws which run parallel to the RERA. So there are usually 3 parallel laws which went to the court. There is RERA Act, there is Consumer Act, and there is IBC. So many times there have been 3 or 4 or 5 sets of petitions and judgments. Time and again, the High Courts and Supreme Court, all these landmark judgments that we are going to discuss, they say more or less the same thing, that all these laws are harmonious with each other, they coexist, and you cannot force any allottee to go under one law or the other law. You cannot force the allottee whether he wants to go under RERA Act for relief, whether he wants to go under Consumer Act for relief, or whether he wants to go under IBC, in insolvency bankruptcy, for relief. The judgments have said that all these coexist simultaneously and parallel to each other, and they are not, one does not override the other. It is important at this point to clarify that options are there. You have 3 options, but you can only choose one of the 3 options. For example, if you have paid 10 lakhs to the builder, you want to file a case for refund of the whole 10 lakhs. You cannot file 1 10 lakhs in consumer, 1 10 lakhs in RERA, and 1 more 10 lakhs in IBC. If you succeed in all 3, you will get 30 lakhs refund. No. If for one cause of action, you can only file in one court. So just to elaborate on that example, from this on the screen, there are suppose 10 things, 10 to 12 things. Suppose you have 10 things which from the screen which you want to raise with the builder. For one cause of action, you can only go to one court, which means that if for 5 things you want to go under consumer, you cannot take those 5 things under RERA, and vice versa. So you can distribute your cause of action where you want to pursue that particular cause of action, but for one cause of action, you cannot pursue the same thing in 2 different courts. So it is also fascinating, you will note, Section 88 of RERA, it says that this law is in addition to and not in derogation of other laws. So Section 88 RERA says that if this law has to try and adjust with the other laws. Very interestingly, same to same section is there in consumer also, Section 3, that this act is in addition to and not in derogation of other laws. So Supreme Court has recognized these principles, and Supreme Court has said, and High Courts have also said, that as far as possible, interpret these laws harmoniously. So one is at liberty whether he wants to pursue his grievance at RERA, Consumer Court, or IBC, and it is he cannot be forced, and it is not compulsory that he should only go to one of the courts. Also, I may add that another important judgment which is not mentioned here, not another, I guess the most important judgment in RERA is the judgment of the constitutional validity of RERA. As soon as RERA came out in 2016-2017, it was challenged just like any other law or ordinance is passed. Immediately within a week, it goes to the court. RERA also was taken to the court by many people. If I'm not wrong, there were 20 to 30, there were many batches of petitions filed all across India in the High Courts and Supreme Court challenging the constitutional validity. Supreme Court assigned all the batches, all the court cases to one bench in the Bombay High Court. So constitutional validity of RERA, constitutional validity of how many ever sections were challenged, whatever, I think 20 or so sections were challenged. All the batches of petitions were made to be heard by a bench of the Bombay High Court. And in 2017, within a few months, I think 4 months time limit was given by the Supreme Court, and within the time limit judgment was passed. That is called the Nilkamal Realtors judgment, which is the constitutional validity judgment of RERA. It is a very huge judgment. I think, I'm not exactly sure, it's either 300 pages or 1000 pages, which would not be surprising. It is very normal for judgments to reach 1000 pages, especially of the High Court, Supreme Court. But it is very important to understand the implications of this judgment. Basically, what this judgment says that all the provisions which were sought to be challenged as ultra vires and non-constitutional, all the provisions are good, they are intra vires, they are valid, and they are to protect the allottees and the purchasers. And with a few modifications, just to give you a small hint, gist of one of the things that was held in the judgment, there is a court, a bench for at the lower court level, which is the RERA authority and adjudicating officer, and their appeal, the appellate tribunal. Now, in law, there is such a thing called delegation of powers. And in the government, there are 3 branches of government: legislature, executive, and judiciary. Typically, what happens is that the executive branch, which is the IAS officer, ministers, etc., that branch is given a judicial power. So the executive branch does not have judicial qualifications, but they can be allowed to hear matters and pass judicial orders. So they are given a judicial or quasi-judicial power. It is given to the RERA authority and to the adjudicating officer. And for these particular persons, a judicial qualification to be a judge is not there. The same thing was there for tribunal. It was said in the RERA Act that the judicial member of the RERA tribunal does not require to be a judge. So this judgment, constitutional validity of RERA judgment, Nilkamal Realtors judgment, it added the judge qualification for the judicial member of the tribunal. So that is one aspect of the judgment. And another important thing, the judgment said that question was raised that, Arey, you are introducing this RERA, our projects are already started. How can you make it retrospective? So court said it is not retrospective, it is retroactive. What it means in simple terms, this RERA Act gives an exemption. If you have occupation certificate or completion certificate, you do not have to comply with RERA. So what the court said that it is not retrospective because people who have obtained completion certificate, etc., it will not apply to them. So it will not be active to those people in the retro, in the past, because they have obtained and they have satisfied the exclusion. But projects which are still ongoing, which have not yet obtained the completion certificate or occupation certificate, though they are retro, though they are projects of the past, since you are not qualifying for the exemption, this RERA becomes active. So that is what it means by retroactive, that it applies to whoever the exclusion does not apply. So the Nilkamal judgment declares that RERA is retroactive. So that is the gist of the Nilkamal Realtors judgment. Then Rajkumar sir has given a checklist of documents while purchasing a flat or while purchasing any kind of land. Other useful websites are given. And from the next slides, 69 to 72, sir has elaborated more about how professionals can get opportunities. For example, forensics, risk management, human resources, cyber security, e-commerce, funding, IBC, alternate dispute resolution, competition laws, money laundering, IPR, etc. So, sir, applying his vast experience and expertise, has given us manifestations, nomenclatures, and examples of how professionals can put their services to use. On this particular slide, sir has provided tips and guides how to increase your practice and how to increase your engagement. Participate in discussions, network with other people, do partnerships with other people, etc. And sir has also provided tips on how to master subjects as per his own experience. Sir is a voracious reader of books and he has shared his valuable experience and immense knowledge with us. Sir is a big preacher of positive psychology and hard work, and is big of the opinion that if we train our minds, we can do wonders in our lives. From one of the books, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Sir has extracted how important it is that we add value to the client, and by doing that, our value, our own value also increases. Sir always says, put your efforts in public domain, share your knowledge with other people, engage with the persons in the industry, and this is how you make a mark in the industry. In today's digital age, it is very easy to access anyone and to be accessible to anyone using all the power, the immense power of social media. Sir also is of the opinion that the real estate is one of the few things in the world which is real, tangible, and has a huge value. So the importance of the value of real estate and the services flowing therefrom, the value of these things should not be discounted and should not be underestimated. In any practice, our livelihood and earning the money is the focus. And sir recommends these books also. So with that, I conclude presenting Rajkumar sir's PPT, and we can open the floor for questions if any.
Really splendid. It is very, very difficult to step into the shoes of another person. But Sampath sir, with a short time of 1 hour, he has made the entire presentation of Rajkumar Adukia sir a possible one, because sir is a man of great magnitude, and he is the author of more than 300 books, and he is a voracious reader, and he is a preacher, and he is everything which is coming to this one. But he made it possible, because as a proxy, it is very difficult to step into the shoes of another person. But Sampath sir, with your vast experience and other things, you made it possible. Really great. Excellent presentation of the things.
Yes, sir. Prasanna sir also just joined.
Yeah. Thank you, Narendra garu. I request Ramesh to co-host the Prasanna sir. Sir, so that is the thing, and even welcome to our another speaker, Chandu Sambasivarav garu. Sambasivarav garu already informed to me that it is not that it is only one act, unlike that MSME Act, that is one central act or state act. RERA is one act only. So I'll tell whatever the things that are going on in the from the this side. AP side, that I will dictate the things. Welcome, sir. Welcome to this VCM, and thank you, Prasanna sir, for coming over here. In spite of your tight schedule, you made it possible to be here. Thank you very much, sir. Whether your message can be heard just now, or whether it can be at the end of the session. Sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
No. Yeah.
Now it's
yeah.
okay.
So, no. End of the session will come. I just want to say hello to all of you.
No, sir.
Another meeting.
If it is possible, you can give the message now itself.
No. Carry on. I don't want to the middle of the session. You carry on. So I'll join tomorrow, day after. I'll join. Not a problem.
Okay.
Let the session go on.
Because there is some medical problem that Adukia sir could not able to make it today. So I think he's perfectly okay. But taking the clue from the doctors that he is away from this thing, and his disciple, Mr. Sampath Vinod, has presented the Adukia sir PPT in an excellent manner, sir. Now that it is the RERA part that we are going to handle the things. So I request Narasimhulu garu.
Please don't mind for interviewing, sir. I request to Prasanna sir, if your time is permitted, you can speak out here, sir, because the second session is not yet started, sir. because your time is very precious.
Only one
to us.
session is complete.
If it is not possible tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you can please address our members now.
No, it's not a question of time. Just continue. I don't want to break the session. Not break, even it's not started.
No, sir. The session is yet to start, sir. The additional session, sir.
Yes. Anyway, okay. I'll just put it very short. The chairman of all the branches of...
A small introduction about you from the Bhargav Gara.
Yeah. Yes.
Am I audible?
1 second, sir. Yeah, it is audible.
Prasanna sir needs no introduction, sir. In fact,
introduction.
Good evening, Prasanna garu. The only thing is to say a few words. He is the Central Council member for the second term, and he is on all the standing committees and most of the non-standing committees. And he is a well-known person across Andhra Pradesh who requires no introduction. His face itself is introduction to us, and he is a person who is whenever we are in need of anything, any help from the Central Council side with regard to the speakers or with regard to the arrangement of programs or with regard to the president or vice president presence virtually for any of our programs, the first person we will dial is Prasanna sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He is the face of our Telugu state, sir.
We want to listen from you a few words, sir. What to you?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Respected chairman of all the branches of Andhra Pradesh and the speaker is Samsagaru and the host branch, Vijayawada branch. So, and my dear members, so good evening to all of you. It's a great pleasure for me to join this session for 2-3 reasons. The reason number one is that is the first program which is organized jointly by all the branches of Andhra Pradesh for the year. Number one. Number two, I understand the entire country under the CPE, under any way, which is supported by any central committee, the first program where nearly 12 branches in the entire state are joining together. So that is also laudable, and it has been appreciated in the CPE committee meeting also, which was held yesterday. The other thing, and the topic which you have chosen is so good topic. The same topics are very good, and the speakers also very good speakers we have who have got a practical orientation. And the RERA member himself is coming and spending so much of time with us. Is a very good proposition because there is a lot of opportunities which you have in the implementation of RERA and other enactments also. At the same time, a lot of responsibility has been cast upon the child document because what we signed for the RERA authority is the ultimate document. They believe that. So we have to be more cautious. We have to take additional pains to see that these documents, whatever we give, the intention with which that RERA has been implemented should be protected. And the topic is a very evergreen topic. So when the real estate boom is there, it is good. Real estate boom is not there, also very required. The topic is very much required. And I can see most chairman of the Andhra branches also. It's very nice to see, and both the ladies there, so with a smiling face, and a lot of activities are going on Andhra Pradesh branches. I've seen almost every branch is very active after the new the management has taken over, and I understand there are a lot of programs in pipeline also. Tirupati branch, I think they are having one sub-regional conference they are going to conduct. I came to know from Shirin that they are going to have a very big program in the first week of June or the second week of June. A national program for a couple of days they are going to have. This is all in the pipeline. Visakhapatnam branch, they are trying to plan something big. Like that, all the branches are doing very good activities. Let us keep up this pace and see the door. We used to proudly say that we've got 12 branches in 13 districts. Now we have got 12 in 26 districts. Number of districts have gone up. There are some issues with respect to naming also. The West Godavari district, Bhimavara is the headquarters. Now Yellow is a separate district is there. How to name them, how to reorient them, everything, but to look into that one, we'll see. With this, I congratulate and thank all the branch chairman for taking this initiative. And let us continue like this, because when you have great speakers to come and address us, it's always good that we join together. Because after all, whether Tirupati branch organized, West Godavari or Nellore branch they organize, after all, the same speaker, same type of thing we're going to listen. I think this togetherness is always good. And we G. Srinivas garu, so you should not confine to only Vijayawada branch. Now, next time when Nellore branch wants to organize, you should take the lead and help them to see that all the branches are put on one particular place. So that is another responsibility we are giving to him in this meeting. With this, thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Have a great rally. We'll catch up again sometime. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Prasanna sir, for your brief and short and sweet message. Thank you very much. Really, we are here to help you out, each and every branch of the Andhra Pradesh, sir. Even in the starting itself, Madhuri ma'am already informed that every month we used to take Andhra Pradesh branches. One of the branch will host the things. Every month we will host one branch, one meeting or something like that. So definitely we'll follow your footsteps, sir. And
yes,
so
very good. 12 branches to have 12 months. That's also good.
12 months.
Very nice, very nice. Go ahead. And this will become a model for the rest of the country to follow. We will be the leaders in this particular initiative. Other states to follow in this one. Very good catch up. Catch up with the speed. Thank you.
And coming to the main part of the agenda, I request Narasimhan sir, the man who is going to conduct the sub-regional conference, who is on the feet of the Lord Venkatesha, and he is now going to introduce our resource person, Chandu Samsivara garu, AP RERA member. Thank you, and over to Narasimhan garu.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity. And I am delighted to introduce our resource person, Sri Chandu Samsivara garu, to our members. Sri Chandu Samsivara garu is a recognized expert in the areas of leadership development, organizational design and change management, interpersonal skills, conflict management and negotiation, quality and reliability, project management, people development, competency mapping, and process-centric thinking. He has served as a space specialist, scientist, educator, communicator, and an award-winning management expert. He is also a certified project management professional who has served for over 25 years at various prestigious organizations like ISRO, NASA, Cable and Wireless, Booz Allen, Hamilton, various departments of US federal government, both in India and in the USA. He has served as an adjunct professor at various institutions in the US and taught subjects for working professionals as part of workforce development initiatives. He has educated and earned advanced degrees in the fields of engineering and management from NIT Suractal, University of Kentucky, University of Maryland at College Park, and Johns Hopkins University. He will interact regularly with faculty and students at many professional colleges throughout India and covers topics on technology and business administration. He has received the Performance Excellence Award, the highest recognition from Booz Allen Hamilton for his management consulting services. He is recognizing his meritorious services to the Indian Red Cross Society. The Governor of Andhra Pradesh awarded him Gold Medal. He has served as a professor of management, project management consultant to various organizations, including those in higher education, pharmaceutical, and infrastructure sector. He is servicing as a member of Andhra Pradesh Real Estate Regulatory Authority for the development of real estate sector, in turn to expand the economy of the state of Andhra Pradesh. Needless to say, our speaker has great depth of experience in the field of real estate transactions and RERA. With this brief introduction, I introduce Sri Chandu Samsivara garu to our members, and I request him to commence the technical session. Once again, thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Over to you, sir, Chandu Samsivara.
Thank you, Narasimhan garu. Thank you, everybody who is online. Especially thank you, Prasanna Kumar garu, for your lovely brief overall speech. And I also thank Mr. Sampath, who has done an extremely detailed and well-composed slideshow and presentation. I think he has made my life very easy. So instead of going into the details of RERA and the ecosystem in which RERA plays, which he has done an excellent job, let us go to the nuts and bolts of RERA as it is applied today by AP RERA, the authority. We all know why RERA came into being, and maybe we want to chew over it, the philosophical need for RERA, an act like RERA. We all know every human being in the world, including Indians, we have basic needs, very, very basic needs. Roti, makada, roti, kapada, or makan. Makan is one of the 3 basic needs, a house. Everybody wants to have his own house. But in a country like India, with 140 crore people, maybe plus, with a diverse background, economic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, it has become a challenge to have house for everybody. I'm sure state governments, local governments, NGOs, central government, and individuals, they try their best to have accommodation, a house for each and every one. And it's no surprise that it has become a dream which is not fulfilled for many in the sense for crores of people. So government of India or individuals like us, professionals like us, when we look at this problem, the scope of this problem, the magnanimity of the problem, we are stunned. Generally, we don't know how to tackle this problem. We tackle piecewise. We tackle from our own perspectives. But if we really put all our perspectives together, and if we want to really realize the dream of having a house for everybody, every family in this country, we have to address the problem in multiple dimensions, in multiple directions, in a comprehensive manner. And what are those dimensions? What are those areas that we want to address and we want to improvise upon, and we want to standardize and really make the affair of housing and also the commercial spaces, commercial buildings and other public buildings a reality. Well, in Mr. Sampath's speech, he identified all stakeholders, the relevant, the important, the immediate stakeholders. And let me see from my side, the immediate stakeholders are the potential LRTs, people who would move into these houses, who want houses, who are ready to buy houses, or whose dream is to have their own house, those families. And then the providers, the promoters. Here the promoters could be governmental agencies, NGOs, builders, individual builders or companies, partnership companies or otherwise. So all sorts of players are there who are willing to play the role of a promoter. And then you need the financial institutions to support these efforts. And then the government policies which are not conflicting. In other words, we already have some policies and policies based on some laws, acts, based on our rights as identified in our constitution. All those things put together, we have an ecosystem, a very complex ecosystem in which I want a house and there is a builder who wants to build and provide that house to me. And this is what is going on. This is what is going on for hundreds of years. And if so, what is really new in this game? The new ideas in this game are to make it accessible, to make the idea of buying a house more accessible to more people in a timely manner. What does it really mean? When we start building houses as per standards, when we start building houses in huge numbers in line with the demand, when we start building the houses which are more maintainable with good life, that can give you a good return on investment. And if we can build those houses using cheap financing, maybe from within the country or maybe from outside the country, that means by securing institutional financing to these projects. These are the ideas that were not really explored before 2016. And there were a lot of discussions. There were a lot of philosophers who talked about these things. There were a lot of economists who wanted a system, who wanted to have a framework wherein we can achieve accessibility, meaning affordable housing. Affordable housing means I'm not talking about houses for the poor. Even for the rich people, those who can buy houses for 1 or 2 crores or 3 crores or 4 crores, they should also have a house which is accessible within their means, meaning a reasonably priced with all the amenities, good quality, that can ensure return on investment. Return on investment means he is paying 1 crore rupees, somebody pays 10 lakhs, somebody pays 30 lakhs, somebody pays whatever, and everybody is looking for, okay, my house should last instead of 20 years, 25 years. If you say yes, this lasts for 25 years, they want it to last for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. So there are challenges that we should overcome from engineering point of view, from workmanship point of view, from financing point of view, from cultural point of view, from policy point of view, from regulation point of view. For all these things put together, if you want to create a framework, if you want to really create an act which can monitor, guide, and control, regulate all these aspects, we need an act which is not only regulatory in nature, 100%, that should also have the other dimensions of encouraging all stakeholders to inch up, move up, and then all the builders to be able to do their job in a better way, all the workforce, all the manpower to be more skilled, all the financial institutions to fund these projects in a secure manner without losing interest of their depositors, and on and on and on. So with this philosophy, if you start writing an act, if you start writing sections addressing all these ideas one by one, what you get is something like RERA, Real Estate Regulation and Development Act of 2016. It's very close in addressing whatever I talked about, and maybe other things also. And there may be other things that are still left out. Maybe the next versions of RERA, in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, whatever amendments we are going to get out of our experiences with RERA, it may address some of the shortfalls, or it may also include some of the new areas. We'll see. We'll wait for those things. But as we stand today, RERA Act and RERA authorities that are supposed to be the guardians, the implementers, the executioners of the Act, we have them all over the country, maybe 22 plus. In Andhra Pradesh, we have it. We have been members since 2018, August of 2018. So we are full benched. Now we have 5 members with the AP RERA, and we have a chairperson who is who is also the chief secretary, special chief secretary of the government. She has this as full additional charge. So we have a full house within the authority. So what do we do, and where we interact, where the entire act needs the help of professionals. It's not only the promoters, not only the buyers, not only the LRTs, but the entire game. This philosophy of creating an ecosystem to provide houses for everybody, accessible houses for everybody. In this ecosystem, who are the main players? Who are the key players that can enable all the stakeholders plus assist the authorities? I think the Act has rightly identified 3 key professional areas and professionals. One is architects. The second body is structural engineers, and the third body is of chartered accountants. All these three professionals, three types of professionals, are well educated, well certified, and they have the well laid out ethical practices and rules governing their practices. So the Act identified these three groups, and there are requirements, there are things that these three groups should monitor and help the promoter in addressing the responsibilities of completing the project within the time, within the budget, fulfilling all the specification agreements, all the requirements, all the agreements that the promoter has promised to deliver. Well, for this to happen, we need to have a serious discussion and scope for our definitions. What is that we are talking about? When we talk about a house, what is a house? Everybody has his own version of a house. So obviously, the building code that prevails in each and every state becomes an important starting point. So whatever is the lot area that a builder wants to build a building, for example, based on the lot size, based on the geographical location of the lot, based on the master plan laid out for that area, satisfying all the local geographical planning and safety, security requirements, local bodies will take care of the planning aspect. So the builder proposes a building, the planning authorities, the local bodies, the urban local bodies, they review the proposed plan. They combine this proposed plan with the local laws, building codes, master plans, and all that good stuff that they are responsible for the safety of our society, and they sanction a plan. And now the responsibility of the promoter is structurally, physically, to construct a safe and sound building as per the plan. So the very first and foremost idea that we are going to deal with is the concept of a project. So now we have a plan, and now we have to implement it. We have a plan on paper, and now we want to implement it. We want to realize it. In project management, as per project management principles, a project is defined as a finite amount of work which has a definite starting point and which has a definite end point. This is very, very important for our professionals to understand. We are not talking about an ongoing activity. We are not talking about a maintenance work. We are talking about a project as envisioned by Project Management Institute, as agreed upon by RERA, the Act. So they define a project. So all that we are going to deal with from now on is to realize a plan into something real by adapting the ideas of project and project management. So we have a starting point for this project. Who says when is that starting point? Obviously, the promoter has to say it. How the promoter can say it? If he understands what is the plan he asked for, what is the time it is going to take to realize it, and how much it is going to cost resources wise. If he understands these three legs, these three components, then he will be in a position to estimate when he can start and when he can complete. Obviously, for him to understand the scope of the project, he needs the help of structural engineers. That is why we took structural engineers as a group of professionals to help the promoters. Then how long it is going to take? How long it is going to take depends on the availability of resources, including money, machines, techniques, technology, maybe impending government policies, changes in the society, which are uncertain, but you take into account that also, and the availability of finances, how much you have on hand, how much you can secure, how much is guaranteed, how much is to be borrowed in uncertain ways. All those things put together, you get the cost line, the financials line, as well as the timeline. If you imagine the project management as a triangle, which every project manager does, obviously it has three sides. We call them three legs. If you disturb one leg, automatically other two legs get impacted. So for us to implement this project, starting on a date, and if we want to complete it on a date, obviously we have to be well aware of what is that we are going to do, including the uncertainties. What is that we have to do in a timely manner? How are we going to support it by spending the money we have, the resources we have, and how are we going to guarantee the scope by following the engineer's version, the architect's version of our project. So the architect is going to have a global view of what is that is going to come up, and he knows how the timeline is going to be managed, and the overall building has to be managed. The structural engineer, he knows what should go where and when for this shape to take up, for this timeline to be satisfied. Obviously, the cash, the finance side of the story is how we plan for daily expenses, how we pay for material and man, at what rate, what month, what resource, on and on and on. Maybe a day-to-day accountant will look into those things, but periodically an auditor, a certified, like whoever is online right now, our colleagues, one of our colleagues will help the project to really understand the rate of burning, understand the resources available in near future and long future, and how to plan them, how to manage them, how to keep under control. So this is if we can do all these things, if we can manage the overall shape of our building, the architectural soundness of our building, if we can do the quality side of the building by following good structural engineering practices, by having good workmen, by having good tools and techniques, by having good discipline in engineering, I think the finance side of the story also will be easy for planning as well as monitoring. So these three professionals working in tandem can only keep planning, can only keep the execution going in a smooth manner, and can only ensure that the project is delivered on time, is finished on time. And that will be a great help. That will be the only way for any promoter to complete the project in time, under cost, with all good qualities, good things that he planned for his customers, for his LRTs. I think this is how a grand philosophy got translated into something that we can work with. And obviously, now we have to lay down the rules to help these professionals follow, so that the projects are planned wisely, planned with sound knowledge, and then executed with good proficiency on time for the customers. This is the central idea that is laid out in RERA 2016. And every section that we look into the book, to the act, it touches one or more of the aspects of what I just mentioned. So really, we are talking about is a good project management. If there is a good project management, whatever the Act is asking for, whatever AP RERA is asking for, is automatically covered. If you are managing, for example, let me take 1 minute to go back and see how we used to do at ISRO. We all know we call everything a project, ASLV project, SLV project when Dr. Kalam was there, ASLV project, PSLV project, GSLV project. See, we call them projects only. We don't call them rockets. PSLV project produces PSLV rocket, its launch mechanisms, its control mechanisms, its tracking mechanisms, including the satellites that it is going to carry. So everything put together is a project. This project may run for 5 years, 6 years, 2 years, whatever it is, depending on what it is. And have you heard about any complaint so far about ISRO not able to deliver its projects? They delivered. Sometimes we also had failures. I'm not saying no about it. But compare a PSLV project, ASLV project, or a project done by ISRO to a project in real world like our real estate projects. The most common complaint we receive at AP RERA is my promoter promised to give me the apartment 2 years back, 1 year back, 3 years back, but still the work is going on. Still, it's not even half done. It's not done. It's not done fully. A project which is supposed to take 3 years, and we are not talking about space sciences here, space engineering here, space technologies here. It's a beaten path. We all know what goes into a building. Still, we are unable to complete, and we are delayed by years, not months. Obviously, the disconnect is the buildings are not planned. The buildings are not done in a professional way. So sorry to say that I am not offending anybody. My intention is not to offend any individual builder. But the process itself has to be upgraded. We need to be more careful with the process. We need to be more scientific in our approach. Scientific does not mean we all need to be scientists. We have to adapt processes, procedures that are established elsewhere, that are termed as good practices, best practices elsewhere. And sometimes it may not be easy to get somebody's practice from some other country and to use it one-to-one, the same like what they do. We may not be able to do it here. Our conditions around us may not support it. But that is exactly where we step in as professionals to understand, for us to implement a good practice, what exactly is hindering? What are the obstacles? What is that is stopping us from using a good practice? Well, we would like to do it. Everybody wants to do it. We all want to be professional. We all want to be proficient in doing what we do, and we all want to deliver the best quality buildings, residential or commercial or otherwise. So we all want, but somehow something is missing, and we are unable to do it. So identify all those things that are missing, and we start addressing from these three perspectives: the architectural perspective, which is addressed part by planning and part by overall execution, and structural aspects, really the quality matters of engineering, the quality matters of the project, and then the financial aspects, controlled by you, monitored and advised, monitored and controlled by the chartered accountants. If we three players, if we three professionals, if we three bodies want to make really a project execution into a professionally done project, I don't think it is difficult. But we needed a framework to motivate us, to guide us, to regulate us. In a way, making everybody fall in line, a good line, a professional line, a scientifically acceptable line, which delivers on time with good quality. I think with that vision, wherever we go, whatever we talk, if we start approaching project management, all our buildings, all our gated communities, all our simple buildings, 8 units buildings, 10 units buildings, or a simple house for that matter, wherever we talk about a real estate project, if we really talk about a project, if we really take it as a project, and if we start helping the promoter who is responsible for the project, we meaning the architects, the structural engineers, and the chartered accountants, among 3 of us, I think we cover all 9 or 10 areas of project management, no doubt about it. Really, we don't need an act or a body to monitor whether we are doing it right or wrong. There is an act, there is a body, authority, and we do look into these details from time to time, just to make sure that everybody falls in line. Imagine all the promoters are already in line. They're already doing the best they can do, the best available practices, the best available this, the best available that. I don't think RERA is any difficult. RERA becomes just like keeping a diary, nothing more than that. RERA cannot interfere, RERA cannot control, RERA cannot monitor. It need not regulate anything. It need not force anybody to do anything otherwise. Our goal is to make RERA redundant eventually. When RERA becomes redundant, when the professional bodies act up, when the promoters act accordingly, and when there is enough awareness in our workforce, in our policymakers, in our consumers, that means we are looking at a mature society. In a mature society, in a technically sophisticated society, in a scientific society, whatever we say that this has to be done this way, it's nothing more than just record keeping, nothing new. Nobody has to worry about what is this, should I do it, why should I do it? You have to do it because it is the best practice. It gives you best results. It gives you best results as of now. That's the idea. If so, why there is so much of resistance in registering the projects with RERA? That we need to understand. And once registered, why there is resistance among promoters to give data as prescribed from time to time. It is a reflection of your plan. It's a reflection of your project execution, project management. We are not asking anything new. This is otherwise also you are supposed to do as per the good practices of project management. After 3 or 4 years of talking to hundreds and thousands of promoters, talking to hundreds and thousands of professionals, I think our situation is definitely getting better. But the apprehensions are still there. My job here is to address those apprehensions, to make you think that this is not a burden, this is actually a plus. This will help in planning, this will help in execution, this will help in delivering, and this will help in growing the business. When we talk about one project and one promoter, when we help each and every promoter, when every promoter does the best possible work, the sector becomes very good. And unfortunately, though it is the second largest employer in our country, real estate is not recognized as an industry because of these problems. So hopefully, when we all start doing the work the way we are supposed to do, for now as mandated by RERA, in future, RERA, I don't think we need mandate by RERA. This becomes a standard practice, I'm sure. When we start doing all these things, real estate sector becomes real estate industry, when real estate industry becomes, it will have its voice in budgeting process of the governments, both at state level and central level, and it will have more bank worthiness. That means for projects, we'll start seeing institutional financing coming into play, both from inside and outside. So when institutions, our banks, both private and public banks, when they start funding the projects, when international banks are funding the projects, when international institutions start funding the our projects, don't you see ballooning, mushrooming real estate industry in India? I think to achieve that, for us to see a ballooning, a mushrooming, a satisfying, a house for all type of environment in India, then I'm sure we look back and we see how useful the ideas laid out in RERA Act were. In fact, in India, whatever we say RERA Act now, these were standard practices 20, 30, 40 years back in countries like USA, Japan. That's why in USA, the housing is a boom, the real estate is always a boom. And you may ask the question, has US given a house to every citizen? Is every citizen does every citizen has his own house? Maybe not. But see, the world will never be perfect. But I'm sure US is far ahead. Japan is far ahead. Australia is far ahead. And China is on the way to be much better in housing, simply because they executed projects, real estate projects, in a scientific manner, as project management is prescribed, as prescribed by project management principles. And we simply adopted some of those good practices, and we can preach, we can go around the country and start preaching that this is a good practice, we have to do it this way, this is a good practice, we have to do it this way. But I think given the complexity of our country, that type of preaching may take decades more. So instead of starting preaching, our parliament has decided to come up with an act, and that act is in place. It is like when we were kids, we did not know the value of education. So the teacher who runs around with a cane, and we start looking at him as the villain. But because of his cane, because of his efforts, maybe once in a while he also beat us, which is not allowed anymore. So that teacher gave us the way. That teacher showed us the way. That teacher made us the professionals. Similarly, RERA and RERA authorities are just teachers with good intentions. If you do the right way, if we all do the right way, it's good for everybody, including RERA, including me, Chandu Sambasaro. Today I'm the member. Probably tomorrow I want to buy a house. I want to buy a house which is of good quality, of low cost, which can last long, and which can give me a lot of return on my investment, all that good stuff. I'm a consumer. I'm an individual. We are all individuals. We are not only professionals, we are all individuals trying to have houses for our families. And there is nothing more than fulfilling the dream in RERA. So I request the CA fraternity. I'm sure you are saying the good things about RERA. You are encouraging your clients, the promoters, in all possible manner. And you also, I am only requesting you to do it more and more frequently, and never ever express with your promoters that this is a burden. This is an extra burden. I don't think it's a burden. We are not doing the right way, so we are forced to do the right way. We are not keeping the records, so we are forced to do the record keeping. We are not planning, we are forced to plan. a weekly plan, a monthly plan, a yearly plan, a half-yearly plan. We have to plan, otherwise, where the money is coming from, how the money can come. There is always a limited for any promoter. There is a limit on his financial resources. There is a limit on his manpower. There is a limit on his equipment. So his resources are limited. But he agrees to complete the project in a way to satisfy his customers in an aggressive manner. Always remember, every promoter wants to be very aggressive in delivering. But unfortunately, he is not able to manage. He is not able to manage through his planning, through his execution. So that is why RERA gave the responsibility for architects, for structural engineers, and for chartered accountants to be the guides, to be the hand holders of promoters, to guide him in the right direction, to plan each and every activity, and to make sure that he completes the project on time or before time, so that he can be more profitable. His project will be more profitable. His consumers, the LRTs, we call them LRTs now, they are more satisfied. It's a win-win for all the stakeholders. This is how we who deal with RERA day in and day out feel about RERA. But is it really happening? What is our experience for the last 3 years in AP? I don't think it is happening. It's tough. It's tough. But to be frank, because I'm talking to professionals, we are all professionals, and I need to present you what is going on and what type of complaints we still get. We are getting more and more. For every complaint there is, if we look for the root cause, it ends in bad planning. It ends in bad planning of resources, bad planning of this, bad planning of that. So obviously the time skips. The entire project is delayed. And whatever profit the promoter has to get, because it's a business, and they have to get some profit, and his profits are eaten by the delay in the form of interest, and he is frustrated, and he will start cutting corners, and the quality suffers, and the LRTs are disgruntled now. The LRTs come back to RERA to sort out. You see, being able to complete the project on time is a boon for everybody. But unable to complete the project on time is a curse for everybody. Is a curse for the promoter, is a curse for the planners, is a curse for the LRT. So what's the best way out then? Well, you do it voluntarily. If you do it every 3 months, you give me a sheet. What is that you are doing? If the sheet is not in line with what is expected of this project, remember, RERA is not a professional body. We are not structural engineers. We are not architects. We are not chartered accountants. Then what is that we can do? We can only follow your plan. Promoter, at the time of registration, you said, I will deliver by so-and-so date. So if you have to deliver the project by so-and-so date, we want to make sure that every 3 months there is progress. If 1 or 2 quarters may slip this way, that way, for things that are not under our control, for reasons which are not in our control. But overall, the project is moving at a healthy pace. The project can be completed as promised, as planned, as outlined, as the dates are given at the time of registration. So when we ask the question that your spending is not in line, your structural engineer's statement is not in line, your architect's statement is not in line, what is that we are trying to do? We are only trying to make you 3 people sit down, understand where the problems are, where the gaps are, and then plan, and then advise the promoter accordingly. It's only an opportunity for us to take a review. It is good for all of us who are all involved in this project, with this project. I think that is the spirit in which we have to move forward. RERA is not asking you to submit every 3 months your clients. We are asking, it's a mandate. The Act is asking for. The Act is asking for so that we three, the architect, the structural engineer, and the accountant, we are on the same page. We are doing our job the professional way, and we are advising our client, the promoter, to be guarded, to be well guarded, and then complete the project. So I do not see where the complexity is. I do not see this as an additional burden. I only see it as an internal review for the individual project. Whatever is the review, we want to have a copy so that for now, we are like the teacher with the cane. We are not going to beat anybody, but at least we want you to follow the good things. We want you to do the good things. You meaning the promoter meaning really you three professionals. Well, when I say it's not happening for a couple of reasons. Maybe we are not scrutinizing to the extent that it needs to be scrutinized. Maybe you are not taking it as seriously as you should have been taking it. Maybe the promoters are not aware of the positive things that are likely to come out of it. The promoters are still looking at it as an additional work, a burden. So now, for these reasons, we have to now work together. So I'm here explaining to you. We talk to architects the same way. We talk to the promoters the same way. We talk to all the people, the professional bodies that are involved in actually planning and making the projects a reality. You have to do in your scope, and the promoter also has to be willing to understand and take the benefits of doing the right way. Take the benefits of record keeping. Take the benefits of scientific applications. Take the benefits of professional advice. And there is definitely a gap. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but in assessing the roles and responsibilities of a promoter, professionals, and the regulator, we have gaps. Hopefully, by this type of interactions, we can address some of those gaps by encouraging the promoters, because they are your clients. I'm sure there are 200, 300 chartered accountants here online, and each of you may be advising 5 or 6 or 10 or in some cases 100 projects. I know some chartered accountants, they have they are consulting with 100 promoters who have actual live projects today. I think this is a challenge for you. This is a great opportunity for you, for chartered accountants. As we go along, we can fine-tune the requirements. We can fine-tune what we report. We can fine-tune what we report, meaning what we plan for. And we can fine-tune the way we monitor. We can fine-tune the way we control the finances in-house as well as in reporting. And it makes the job of RERA easy. And RERA need not talk to you more frequently, because you are already doing the best possible, the best way that has to be done. I will mention a couple of common practices. Probably you will also realize why these problems are propping up, and you can also start exploring with your clients. Sit with them, explain to them, and hopefully in coming days, coming months, coming years, our combined performance will be much better than what it is today, and what the Act really wanted out of all these things. For it to go forward, let me narrate a small anecdote, a small story. One young man, he has an axe, but that's a very blunt axe. He's trying to cut the tree. He is working very hard. He's trying to cut it, but because the axe is blunt, it's not doing as he wanted. A passerby, a professional, he stopped and he looked at the young man. He noticed that the axe is not cutting it. And he asked the young man, your axe is blunt. It looks like it is blunt. Why don't you take time off? Take 5 minutes, go grind your axe, come back and you can cut it. The young man answers, I don't have time. Just go away. I'm too busy cutting this tree. I have to cut it within the next half an hour, so I don't have time. You see the syndrome? We know we have a problem, but we think we don't have time to solve the problem. But when we solve the problem, when we really try to solve the problem professionally, it is not burdensome. It's much more capable, and it becomes much easier to actually do it. So in real estate industry, we are all running, we're all in a hurry, we're all trying to do the things faster. But unfortunately, our axes are not ground well. And those are the points as professionals we can bring it up. We can bring up, we can discuss with the promoter, we can discuss with other players working with the project, take time out, plan it, and go for execution. One problem. The real problem that we see in our projects, I'll tell you now, and I'm sure you all can see the problem as well as the potential solution. If it is so obvious for each one of us, why we are unable to do it in thousands of projects with RERA, registered with RERA. Specific things that are in our domain, chartered accountants domain. We ask for estimated cost of the project. It's no big brainer. When I am going to start a project, my financial planning should at least address in a professional manner what it is going to cost. For that to happen, I have to work with the architect, I have to work with the structural engineer, I have to work with the chartered accountant. Out of 2,300, 400 or so projects registered with RERA, I'm sure more than 90% of the projects, they have given something as the estimated cost of the project. Now you see, it could be more, it could be less, but it is not planned. Nobody knows. It may be 5 crores, it may not be 5 crores, it may be 6 crores, it may be 4.5 crores. I don't know. I think it's 5 crores. Who thinks it's 5 crores? I think that is something out of my discussion, out of RERA Act, the philosophy behind RERA Act, the project management, all these things are driven by the 3 sides are mostly controlled by the resources. Resources, sum total of whatever we say, manpower, equipment, technology, this, that, and all, ultimately it boils down to money. When you don't have that number right, what is that you are trying to plan further? How do you know if it is going to be 5 crores, for example, or 6 crores? How do you know? Nobody knows. But why you give the number 5? Well, I think it is going to be 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 by the time we really come out of it. But I know RERA is going to penalize if I do anything wrong based on the estimated cost of the project. That's why I want to be on the lower side. You see the lame excuse. So one leg is already broken in your financial planning, in your project planning. Then the dates. They say we start in January of 22 and we will complete in December of 24, let us say. How you got these dates? How you got these dates? The common answer is, well, on an average, I can sell one every month, sir, not more than that. So for me to sell 100 units, it's likely to take 3 years. Is that the spirit of Project Lifeline? Is that how a project has to be planned? Ultimately, what is happening? Maybe the project can be completed successfully in 1.5 years. Now, keeping his sales trajectory, sales experience, and other experiences on mind, he is trying to put 3 years. And no professional has advised him on these 3 years. Remember, there is no scientific analysis on time management because there is no project management plan to start with. So when he says 3 years, automatically most of his profit is going to be eaten away. Who is doing that calculation? When doing the time management, don't we think we professionals, we chartered accountants, should also give him the time value of money, the cost of what he is going to incur at the end of the day? What is the best time that he should be completing in? Instead of 3 years, if he can complete in 2 years, what is the benefit he is going to get? Maybe 2 years is not practically feasible given the workforce and other things that are available to him. So the cash inflow into the project, that is the resources inflow into the project, and the overall environment of our state, of our country, of our city, of our place, taking all those things and some uncertainties into account, the project span, start to end, has to be calculated meticulously, and there are ways to calculate it. And if not, it has to be approximated in a scientific way. But they are giving dates without a reason. And then comes the scope. Means what exactly you are going to build. How are you going to build? They have a good control on the architectural drawing. But overwhelmingly majority of the builders do not have any insight into the structural well-being, the structural plan of the building. So we have no structural plan, we have no time plan, we have no financial plan. These plans are not done professionally. Andaz se, from their experience, from somebody's experience, from the imaginary sales data, from the sales data of Hyderabad, from sales data of Visakhapatnam. We cannot plan in Guntur, we cannot plan in Tenali, we cannot plan in Vijayawada. Every place comes with enormous historical data. Every place has data. Every place has historical data. And we need to get hold of them. We need to talk to other professionals that we need help from. And we need to plan the time. We need to plan the structure. And we need to come up with a close approximation of the financial resources we need. So these 3 things we ask for. Now you know why we are asking for. Now I think on my behalf, on RERA's behalf, on your behalf, and we all should be talking to the promoters to realize the actual value of planning, the actual value of estimation of times, of structural quality, of the financial plan. As the old adage goes, the plan itself may not be important, but the process of planning is very important. And it's a continuous thing. There is no holiday for planners. If you are a project manager, there is no holiday. You have to keep planning, keep planning for tomorrow, keep planning for next week, next month, till we reach the execution date, the delivery date. I think these are the three areas that we have to be more professional. We have to drive our points every day, with every project, with every engineer out there, with every architect out there, with every accountant out there, with every promoter out there. We have to drive it. And I am sure the fallout of our effort will also help the other associated industries, the associated businesses. So if we can plan, if we can submit the quarterly reports on these three aspects, that is what is Form 5. We are not asking for anything more than Form 5. Form 3, you give at the time of registration, the estimated value of the project, the estimated cost of the project, and the source of funds, how we are going to finance it. And then Form 5, every 3 months, you have to sit with all other two professionals, with the promoter, understand where you stand, and give a true picture of where you stand as far as the financials go, the accounting goes. And that will only help the project reach its targeted end date safely. And these are the two areas. And then along with the project planning, project financial planning and project financial management, Act is also mandating that you do it in an isolated way. You have a RERA dedicated account and put money, take money from there, 70-30, at least 70% of the money in the account. And thereby it becomes easy for the accountant, it becomes easy for the auditor, and eventually it becomes easy on the project and the promoter to deliver on time. In this case, I'm sure more than 95% of the projects are not doing it. They're not fully doing it. Then as a member, what should we do? We cannot, as authority, we cannot keep penalizing, keep using the cane every day. That's not a possibility. That's not welcome. Then we request the chartered accountants to be more vigilant. What if the promoter does not listen to you? So that's a challenge for any professional. So that means we have to upgrade our language, we have to upgrade our approach, we have to upgrade our communication skills so that our clients at least listen to us, start believing in us, or we show them enough examples of project management, good financial planning, good financial controls and monitoring, which helps improve his profit lines, improve his business. I don't know what we do. I am also in the same boat as you are in. So what is that we have to do to really motivate the promoters, motivate all those that are directly or indirectly related to the execution of this project to understand the implications of planning and monitoring so that the project is delivered on time and everybody wins. And you are very key in coordinating with the architects, in coordinating with the structural engineers. And you, because you are dealing with the financials, it is relatively easy for you to also convince the promoter because he sees the advantage. He may not see the advantage of one type of construction and other type of construction, one material and other material. In everything that he chooses, probably most of them base their arguments on cost implications naturally. But you being the planner, you being the auditor, you being the advisor, financial advisor, I think you see the logic of what the architect is trying to do, what the structural engineer is trying to do, what RERA is trying to do. All those things are coming together to play together to help the promoter to
Friends, let us give a second to Chandu Samsarao sir. I think he has got a technical issue at his end. He will rejoin in a second, I suppose. Before Samsara Garu rejoins, let me give you a programming note of tomorrow's program. Tomorrow's program will start exactly at 5 p.m. This tomorrow's session will be on income tax perspective with regard to the real estate transactions. The session will be handled by CA Abhishek Murali, who is a well-known expert in income tax, and he is also a renowned speaker at various places. He was also the past secretary of SIRC. I think Samsara Garu has logged out, and I think he will be rejoining in any time from now. So before Samsara Garu join us, so GSR Garu, can you elaborate on the efforts that have been put upon by Rajkumar Adukia sir? Of course, this program is a brainchild of Rajkumar sir, and also the way in which that PPT has been tailor-made to Andhra Pradesh perspective. Rajkumar sir being a person from Maharashtra, he was the WIRC chairman also in the past, and also this is the fourth time in which he is at the Central Council. Right. Now he caught hold of all the rates of registrations, what are all the authorities with regard to the real estate transactions, what are all the website of various authorities. All those things have been put up in this PPT. You had some interaction for the last 10 to 15 days with Adukia sir. Can you please elaborate on his thought process? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Friends, my dear chairman, we came here only to do service for the members and students. Whatever the best services that we can do for the members and students, that itself is a landmark for us. The Rajkumar Adukia sir is the person who is day in, day out, completely looking after the affairs of the each and every branch, because he is in the CPE committee chair, and he wants every branch to be performed at its best. So I think if you observe the WhatsApp group, he has given a suggestion saying that every branch should have a study circle meetings. He should have a 5 chartered accountants at least in the study circle meeting for one topic, that is for direct taxes 5 chartered accountants, for indirect taxes 5 chartered accountants, for FEMA 5 chartered accountants. So like that he has to, you people has to create a, sir.
Yes, sir. Samsara Garu has rejoined. Sir, please go on, sir. Please go on, sir. Samsara Garu. Please unmute and speak, sir.
Sir, please unmute, sir.
Co-host చేశారా సాంసరావు గారిని? సాంసరావు గారిని co-host చేయాలనుకుంటా. ఆయన మిస్ అయ్యారు కదా?
No, I think I'm okay, sir.
Okay.
Now I'm okay.
Please go on, sir.
Go on, sir. Thank you.
Sorry for the break. I think my battery dropped on me. I think I covered what I wanted to say, sir. Thank you for the opportunity, and I think I already took a lot more than what I'm supposed to take. My only request is, let's all play together, and I'm sure RERA will be a great boon to our society. And we are looking at CAs to play the pivotal role, to play the key role, and that's what exactly is the Act wants also. Act is putting more stress, more importance on financial management, because financial management forces other things to fall in line. And obviously, chartered accountants are the key personnel who can help the promoters do a better job. Thank you very much. Thank you on behalf of AP RERA, and thank you GSR Garu for inviting me. Thank you all the organizers, and it has been a wonderful experience for me. You please go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Samsara Garu. In fact, Samsara Garu, the very fact that RERA is the meaning of the RERA, that what we understand from the that seminar of the RERA is, it's a forced discipline. Because one should have been disciplined for the all builders or whatever the persons who are involved in these things. If they are not maintained the discipline, the RERA itself maintains the discipline for the members. Of course, chartered accountants are really key part in doing the financial planning, because we know the critical path method, we know the program evaluation review technique methods, and other methods also in getting things done in a right manner. But still, the builders has to give some scope to the chartered accountant to do all those things, instead of forgetting the things and directly asking for the projections, and by not giving any proper inputs or something like that. Definitely, we take the clue from you, sir, and we'll just slightly convey the inputs that are given by you to our real estate clientele. And whatever the things that are best to the community, that will be fall in line, we'll take care about those things, sir. Thank you, Samsara Garu, for the enormous efforts that you have put on for presenting the AP RERA. Thank you very much, sir. And coming to the thing that what Adukia sir has explained to us, mainly he wants everybody, every branch has to be maintained a study circle group. Because in that each topic, that means direct taxes, if 5 chartered accountants are there, 2 should be experienced and 3 should be the freshers. They should advise the branch in such a way that the CPE meetings are to be conducted, and every time that is informal, that non-CPE meetings are also group discussions to be happen in each and every branch, so that the branch will automatically come into live. That is the intention of the Adukia sir, and he is striving hard, as rightly pointed out by Nita sir, Ravikishore sir. Mainly, he is having enormous things. He has authored so many books. He has been in the Central Council for more than 3 times. That is the 4th time that he has been, after a gap, he has been again elected for the the Central Council. So he is putting more and more efforts. Definitely his efforts will come to fruits when we at branches has to follow the same. Thank you. And I request Nita Ravikishore sir, Secretary of the host branch, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, GSR Garu, for the opportunity. First of all, I should thank the directors of this seminar, CA Rajkumar Adukia sir, who is the chairperson of CPE committee at a head office, and also CA D Prasanna Garu, who is a mentor of our branch, for being the directors of this program. Adukia sir has missed out, but his PPT will be of immense use to all of us in our day-to-day practice as far as RERA is concerned. And also, he has quoted some important new areas of practice which we can explore apart from the traditional income tax, tax audit, etc. And our today's chief guest, CA T. Chinnamastan Garu, actually, right from the morning, he is very much busy with the regional council meetings at the SIRC. But he took out time to address for a few minutes, and he made us happy. And also, he has made some 1 or 2 thought-provoking comments about the things that will be done by the SIRC through its branches in the coming days. Thank you very much. And also, I should thank today's speaker, our SOS speaker, Sampath sir, who is a well-experienced and a person who has argued cases before many forums, especially with RERA also. The inputs which he has given will be of immense useful. I should also thank him. And also the Chandu Samsera Garu, who is associated with Vijayawada branch. Not this is the first time, but this is the second time we have invited him. Previously, on one occasion in 2019, we had a physical meeting wherein he has given his inputs. And today also, we thank him for giving his inputs. And listening to him, I thought those are all those words are wise words emanating from that personality. And also, I should thank the chairman of all the branches who have coordinated and supported the host branch in their capacities as the chairman in coordinating with their members, sending the list and planning the program. I should thank them, as well as the coordinators of this program, CA GSR, who is the past chairman of Vijayawada branch, and also CA Venkat Subbarao Kauta, who is one of the committee members who is recently got elected in the recent elections. And also, at last, I would thank all the participants who have participated in large numbers. Of course, it has clocked 300 also. So I thank the participants. And friends, we will meet tomorrow for income tax perspective, speaker being Abhishek Murali. We'll sign off. Good night for now and meet you tomorrow.